We're going to today we're going to talk about really what I believe is one of the most critical aspects of our business. Listen, number one, I am truly blessed, truly grateful for each and every person that's part of our LegalShield team. And even if you're not part of our team, I truly appreciate you, because at the end of the day, we are one band, one sound. I've never seen another company anywhere where people, it doesn't matter what team you're on, it doesn't matter, who your upline is, we got the same system, and everybody is willing to always help each other. And I think that just sets us apart from so many things, or so many companies that are out there. I mean, in our world of direct sales, absolutely, but corporate America, people don't work together in corporate America like they should. They don't work together because they figure the person next to them is trying to take their job. Well, listen, we are all about helping people with LegalShield, all about becoming the best version of ourselves, all about being able to find a better way, all about being able to help you reach your dreams, get your goals accomplished, whatever it is that you want to get done in LegalShield, you can. But let me share this, guys. It really comes down to the membership. See, without the membership, my attorney, it is 9:30 at night. It's 9 o'clock here in Chicago. My attorney just called me 5 minutes ago because he knew he had to get that phone call done today. Where else does somebody call you at 9:30 at night to talk about a speeding ticket that I got? Yes, I got a speeding ticket. And to be able to help me get that taken care of. 9:30 at night, somebody calling you about a speeding ticket that he's going to go to court for you in a week. I mean, that is powerful. See, the LegalShield membership is what allows us to be able to get paid month after month, year after year. And I'm so passionate about the membership, and what I really want is for everyone to understand the membership. It's so important. See, the first thing you want to realize, number one, and I'm going to talk about this, more near the end, probably talking about our system, but you don't need to know the membership great right now, but you got to get great right now at pointing people in the right direction and taking time to learn the membership, because you want to say the right things. Guys, I hear folks a lot of times talking about our services, talking about what it is that we do, talking about... And no disrespect whatsoever to anybody that's out there talking about what we do, but guys, we're missing the boat on so many things about what our membership really, really does for people. And I want people to know that by missing some of the components of what it is we do, not properly explaining what it is we do, two things happen. Number one, people would cancel the membership because they're not using it. I can't tell you how many times if you would people knew that they could use our services for something, they would use them. Number two, something happens, they have the membership, and they didn't know they could use it because they didn't quite understand everything that they had. Now listen, I've sold over 2,000 of memberships. I mean, in front of 2,000 people, right? Sat at their kitchen tables and had filled out the paperwork, sat in their living rooms, stood in front of them in a large group when we're doing an employee benefits. I've seen every way possible, to be able to present it. But here's what I'm gonna share tonight. Number one is you need to use your membership. You need to make sure that you've got your will done. We just updated it this week. And here's the thing, guys. I see we just enhanced it this week, getting your will done on your smartphone. But we've had it for months and months. And I see people going, the will, I'm not sure I didn't know we could do that. I didn't know they had that on the app now. Well, listen, if you know this membership, you're going to become a better LegalShield associate. You're going to become better to the people that you have an opportunity, and you're going to be a better leader being able to serve your team. Because, it gets kind of like that telephone game, right? It's like where somebody says something and somebody else says something and somebody else, and by the time it gets near the end, I mean, the story's just all over the place, right? And so what you want to do is make sure that you understand all of the components, and you want to take your time to study. You want to be a student of whatever game you're playing, because when you can become a student of the game, you can become a professional at the game. See, every professional athlete was a student, and they still are a student today. They still have coaching today to help them get to where it is they want to get to. So let's dive right in and let's talk about the LegalShield membership. I do want to talk a little bit about the company as well. See, it's important when you sit down. If I'm sitting down, let's say I'm just having a conversation with you, or I'm doing a three-way call, or I'm presenting at a private business reception, or I'm doing the briefing. It's a conversation. It's a conversation, but you want to make sure that you put the right facts together. So let's talk for just a second about the company, right? Because you got to know this. I mean, I hear some people sometimes, saying, well, the company's almost 40 years old. No, we are 46. So if you're going to represent the company, you want to know the facts. So we've been around since 1972. We're going on 46 years. Up until July of 2011, we were publicly traded on the New York Stock Exchange. Then we caught the eye of several private equity firms. A company called Mid-Ocean Partners acquired us. Now, you may not know Mid-Ocean. Please look them up, though. Go to midoceanpartners.com. Now, Mid-Ocean Partners spent 13 times our EBITDA value. And for those that understand business, or for those that don't understand, what EBITDA means, that is your net income. That is after everybody is paid, everything is gone, and that's your profit. Well, we're doing about $50 million a year in profit. So, we are such a rich company from a profitability standpoint. And it goes again back to, if we continue to write great memberships, we continue to get paid a lot of money, and that's important. But so they bought us. Now they've owned companies like Jenny Craig, right? They took Jenny Craig from this little studio to Jenny Craig. Sbarro Pizza, Hunter Fans, Bushnell Corporation, South Beach Diet, Totes Isotoner. They got billions of dollars worth of assets, and they spent 13 times our net income, $651 million. They then went and hired the very, very finest from every area that you could imagine to come in, and now our CEO is Mr. Jeff Bell. He is the former vice president of global marketing for Microsoft. He was responsible for the launch of Xbox Live, subscription-based. The gentleman could just grab his phone and call Bill Gates. He had similar roles for like Dodge and Chrysler, taking them back and putting them back into this world of where they are, of profitability. Turning industries around, plus a whole lot of other endeavors that he has. So you've got the smartest leading the way. We've got field leaders in LegalShield like no other. You take a look at all the different platinum executive directors on the platinum council, those that are leading the way. You've got, Darnell Self, over $1 million a year. You got Michael Hume, $600,000 plus a year. You got John and Darcy Hoffman, our platinum executive directors, $700,000 a year. My good friend Steve, Mike, and Kim Melia, $700,000 a year. Mark Riches, $700,000 a year. And so Brian Carruthers, millions and millions. The legacy of Dave Savola, our number one money earner, who he and his wife both passed away in the last year. Millions upon millions. So, you take a look at the rich history. These folks have been with LegalShield, guys, for 20 plus years. That says something about the company you're with. I see folks jumping around and jumping from company to company and thinking that the grass is going to be greener. Guys, I've seen guys that have left LegalShield, with hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of income to go be the next big thing, and now they're trying to crawl back and be with us. And LegalShield's like, we're not doing that, right? You got a rock solid company, and you really should put your stake in the ground and say, I'm LegalShield for life. I don't care what else you got going on. I don't care what else you got to do. Listen. When I started with LegalShield and I figured, hey, I'll make an extra $1,000, I was still busting my behind at my job. I knew I wanted the time freedom. I knew I wanted to have the things that a company that LegalShield has to provide. But let me tell you, you got to work to get to that point. So let's talk about the services that our company provides. Number one, let's talk about the law firms that provide our services. So the way the services work with LegalShield is that there is a primary law firm in every single state. Again, I hope you guys are taking notes. There's a primary law firm in every single state, as well as 4 provinces of Canada. There's about 1,100 or so attorneys that are in those law firms. So you got all these law firms. It's a closed panel of attorneys. See, way back in the 80s, we had what was called an open panel. What that meant is that you just kind of grabbed the phone book or grabbed the little book we had with an attorney, you called them, and sometimes they'd call you back and sometimes they wouldn't, and we couldn't regulate them and we couldn't control them. Guys, we are in control of your law firms, of our law firms. See, LegalShield, number one, we track everything that goes on within the law firms. I want everybody to realize that we've got these law firms across the United States, 4 provinces of Canada. Each state, that law firm gets paid 1/3 of the premiums that come out of that state. So if you got 50,000 members, they're probably making about $500,000. You take a company, a state like California, 200,000 members in California, you take that, you're looking at over $2 million a month that these law firms get paid. Illinois, 500, 600,000. Texas, $1 million plus a year. Georgia, $1 million a year. I mean, they get 1/3 of everything, which is fantastic because, see, they get paid on the first day of the month. So on the first day of the month, your members are already protected. That law firm is already paid. See, back in the open panel world, you're like, well, if we do some work, it's at such a discount and it's so sporadic. So we just said, you know what? We're going to pay you no matter if you work or not. We got these law firms that are contracted as our private little network. Now, they may serve some other people, believe me, and they serve some big clients, but we're their largest client. For example, our law firm in California, let me tell you how amazing. So Parker Stanberry, which we pay a couple $1 million a month, a couple million dollars a month. A couple years ago, I had a client out in California, and he wanted to become a member, but he had his own law firm that he was already paid. He goes, man, I already got my attorneys. I give them $500 an hour. They're expensive, but they're so worth it. And then when I told him our law firm, who they were in California, it was his law firm. On this side, he was paying $500 an hour, but here he was paying, I think, $89 a month because he had the small business plan. How amazing is that? So here's the thing, and here's the way that it works. They get paid 1/3. Now, we monitor everything that goes on. We actually own the phone lines that go into the law firms. And if you've ever been to the LegalShield home office, and guys, I got to tell you, if you didn't go this year when you were in OKC, that was a major error in judgment. I totally get people are busy, but when you get a chance to go to your corporate, it's your corporate office. It's your office. This is an opportunity like no other, guys. I mean, you got the best of corporate America from a marketing perspective, a dollars perspective, a leadership perspective, but yet you get to work from home. Freaking awesome. So we can actually tell when everybody calls the law firm. We can tell, for example, at the end of the month, do you know your law firms get graded on 14 or so strict criteria? 14. Do you know that your members receive a survey every time they get a chance to use the services? Do you know that we grade them on things like how fast did you return the phone call? How did you pick up the phone within 3 rings? When somebody had a situation and you had to call them back, did you get it done in the allotted? I mean, we grade them. We renew their contracts every 60 days. So your law firms, they aren't there just for life, guys. They got to serve your members. But you got to serve your members by knowing the membership, because it's going to make your business grow much faster because you're going to be able to have something valuable. So they get paid 1/3 of every premium. They then, the way that it works, every time you will always call your primary law firm in your state. So you will always call your primary law firm. So here in Illinois, we call Shimanowski and Moscardini. Okay, so those are gonna be the law firm that we call. They got about 20 or so attorneys. Make sure that you go to your open house in your state. Go see your law firm. Get there, take your team, go see the law firm, see what it is they're about. They're not some people sitting overseas answering a phone, right? They are qualified, AV-rated law firms there to help your people. $300 an hour or $300 a year. Come on, guys. But we got to know everything. And that's why I appreciate you guys listening in tonight and grabbing some notes, because we're going to talk about it. So you call that law firm always. That is your first point of contact. Now, they are going to handle all of your consultations, letters written, contracts reviewed, and will preparation. Speeding tickets, moving violations, they may farm out somewhere else, right? And then in those referral attorney issues, they'll farm out somewhere else. But I'm going to talk about the membership right now, because this is super, super important. First of all, understanding what the membership covers. Now, what I recommend for everyone to get good at presenting the membership, go in your back office, go underneath resources, I think it is, LegalShield on demand. You're going to go over the second page when you get there. You're going to see presentations. And then what you're going to do is go to where it says network briefings, download that. That is the best way to get good at presenting the LegalShield membership. And the opportunity as well. Here's what I recommend you do. As I'm getting ready to explain the membership in a second, but I want you to know how you can get really, really good at being able to explain the membership. So you go in your back office, you go into LegalShield Documents on Demand, or LegalShield on Demand. You're going to go, there'll be a page, it'll pop up. You'll see a whole bunch of little folders. On the second page over, you'll see presentations. I encourage you to go through it all so you can see it, but go under presentations. Then you're going to open that up, and you're going to then go to where it says briefing. You're going to go to network briefing, and you're going to download it, and you're going to print it. Now, print it in color, right? I mean, have a little vibrancy to it. Don't just go black and white because that's what you got. Take it, get it printed. If you're smart enough, or if you're smart, you'll put it into a little notebook and you'll have it right there. Put a laminated thing over it, because then you got it. You can take with you if you don't have a computer. I use that thing so many darn times in my life. But then what you want to do is read it aloud and just read through it quick. Just over and over and over. For example, I'm going to, I think I got it here in my Dropbox. I tried posting it earlier, but for some reason it would not post. All right, where am I at here? Well, I'm not sure why it's not there, but that's fine. I don't really need the briefing. I just want to kind of show you how I would do it. So here's what you want to do. You want to go through and just read the briefing. Okay? So if I'm doing this right now, right? This is the way I got really good. I'm going to explain all this, but I want you to tell you how I got really, really good at presenting this membership. And I really know that I am really good at presenting this membership. So what you will do, it's not giving me everything, is I would just go through and I would read it quick. I would just go through and where it says, hey, the best business models of today are simple, disruptive, noble. They're not easily duplicated, and they have an app. Let's look at some examples. Then they go through and they show you 4 or 5 slides talking about Uber and things like that. Then you keep on going through, because it's sporadically coming up here, and it says, our company, established 1972, protecting approximately 4.6 million lives in Canada and the U.S. We have a dedicated network of quality law firms in all 50 states. Then you go on to the next one. Our purpose, we protect and empower people. Our vision, to provide equal access to liberty, equality, opportunity, and justice that every human deserves and expects. Our mission, to help people improve their lives by teaching them life-transforming skills. You get the picture. So what I encourage is that you download that, you print it, and you just read it. Read it as fast as you can and just keep going through it. Then you go back and you do it again. Then you go back and you do it again. Then you go back and you do it again. Then you go back and you do it again. Then you jump on all the recruiting calls that you can. I mean, listen, those recruiting calls that we do each day, guys, it's twofold. Number one, it gets somebody to properly explain the membership. Number two, it allows you to hear the membership. Trust me, I don't even realize sometimes what I'm saying when I'm on there. Hey, LegalShield's been around for almost 46 years. In fact, we were publicly traded on the New York Stock Exchange up until July of 2011. And then all of a sudden we started getting courted by several private equity firms because of the services that we provide. So in 2011, a company called MidOcean Partners acquired us. They spent about $651 million for our company because of 4 emerging trends that we are in front of. You just know exactly what it is you're going to say because you said it over and over and over again, and you've listened to it over and over and over again because that's how you get better, guys. You all know that. There's nothing in life that doesn't get better without practice. Practice, 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 practice. How many times have you practiced the LegalShield membership? Practice reading it. Practice presenting it. Taking a video of yourself while you're presenting it. Guys, you'll get better. And let me tell you, as you get better, your closing ratios get better. And as you get better, more people want to come on board. It's not necessarily just about the membership, but it's about being able to, invite people with the opportunity, get them onto a 3-way call. Guys, we got to master it. I did 12 3-way calls today. 12. And of those 12, there was probably 6 that were good. People just forgetting to edify the other person, people not asking them if they got a minute to chat real quick, and it gets kind of jumbled up. You can pick up the pieces, but you got to master the process, right? Chucky, perfect practice makes perfect. But you are correct, sir. So here's the thing. Let's talk about this membership. So the first thing that a LegalShield member has is unlimited consultations. That means they can call the attorney about any legal situation whatsoever. The attorneys will call them back. They must call them back within 8 hours. If it's a small business owner client, they must call them back within 4 hours. Many, many times I've gotten where they've called me back in 5 minutes. Don't tell your members they're going to call back in 5 minutes. Tell your members they've got 8 hours to return your call. Why is that important? Because if you're expecting somebody to call you, you're feeling like you got something going on. You call them and you sit there and you wait because you told them 5 minutes. They're pissed. Tell them they got 8 hours and let the law firms over-deliver. We under-promise, they over-deliver. That's the way it works. Where people fail is they overpromise and then we can't deliver because, you can't say to somebody, what do you mean? I thought you were going to cover me for free for my DUI. I didn't know if I had a gun and I robbed somebody, you all wouldn't cover that for free. That's why you got to tell people the right stuff, guys. So the first thing that we have, unlimited consultations. You click the button on your app. It will then go directly to your law firm in whatever city or state you're in. Now, here's another key thing when explaining the membership. Know what it is your member has to know when they call. First of all, make sure they got the app downloaded. That's important. Number 2, realize that when you call the law firm, you always want your clients to say, I need to speak to an attorney regarding whatever it is. I'd like to get some advice. You don't want to call them up and go, I want to get a divorce. They're going to refer an attorney out. People then could fall into 25%. You always tell your members, first and foremost, before anything, call your law firm and say, I'd like to get some advice regarding whatever it is. Let them know that they were going to call them back within 8 hours. Because now the member understands what's going on. You also want to know that your member, when they call that law firm, they're going to ask them. They're going to say, what's your first name? What's your last name? They may ask them what their address is. They may ask them what their phone number is because they want to verify who the person is. So you got to make sure that they know they're going to ask them that. Then what's going to happen is they're going to give them a file number. So they're going to give you a file number for whatever legal situation that you've got. And then if you have to send them some documents or there's any correspondence that needs to take place, then you're going to go ahead and use that file number always. So they're going to give you unlimited consultations. They will write letters on your behalf. You are entitled to 1 letter per subject matter. You are entitled to 1 letter per subject matter. When they say they're going to write unlimited letters, They are not going to write 37 letters to Verizon Wireless on your behalf for the exact same situation. It's not going to work. One letter per subject matter. Now, that's what you'll tell them, but I can promise you, because I've been there, that the law firm will over-deliver. If they need a second follow-up letter or something at their discretion, they'll do it, but that's what they do. But we don't tell people that. So you got unlimited consultations. You've got letters that are written on your behalf. They will also review any contracts or documents. So they will review any contracts or documents, and they will get those done within 72 hours. So they got 3 business days to be able to get those documents read. And then you've got, also, by the way, you got 3 business days for them to write the letter. So they got 3 days to write the letter, 3 business days. So if they get the membership on Friday, Saturday and Sunday are not business days. So you got to tell your members that they will have a letter written on your behalf within 72 hours, 3 business days. And then what they're going to do, so they're going to review your contracts, they're going to write your letters or make phone calls on your behalf, and they're going to give you consultations. The next thing they're going to do is they will prepare your last will and testament. Now, they will prepare your will, your living will, your power of attorneys, and create a minor trust for your kids. Not create a trust. Trust is a whole different thing. They'll do a trust, but that falls at a 25% discount. Your will, your living will. Now, so that people know, the will is that document that you fill out that says, when I pass away, where I want everything. Where do I want my kids to go? Where do I want my belongings to go? Who am I leaving this stuff to? It's everything organized. And some people will say, well, I don't have anything. You have stuff, right? So you got to have your will prepared. You have debt. Believe me, that stuff goes in there as well, so that everybody knows where things are. So that's your will. That's that document. Now your living will. Here's what your living will is. A living will, for example, let's say that I was on life support. Let's say I got into an accident and I was on life support. Or I went in for surgery and when I didn't quite come out of it. My living will, what that's going to do is say, in the event that it's time to pull the plug or whatever, the living will says what my intentions are. My family knows. Listen, if I get into a serious accident or I'm on life support, hey, give me a few days, right? Take what the doctors believe, but don't leave me on life support and take away from your life for the next 5 years if I'm truly gone. But if I don't have that in writing, nobody can do that. I'm going to eat up my kids. I'm going to eat up my kids. I mean, they think about it like this. My life insurance is no good if I'm laying there on life support. Give me a chance to live, and then you can go ahead and take me off so my family can get that. They can go on and live their life. But without your living will, that's what that is, nobody can make that decision for you. Then you've got your power of attorneys. Your power of attorneys are who can act on my behalf. I may not be dead. I may not be dying. I could be incapacitated. Hell, a power of attorney is as simple as I couldn't call, right? If my wife, if we're not on an agreement together, if we're both not on the mortgage, right? If we're both not on the bank accounts, I can't make those decisions. So a power of attorney says, yes, I can make decisions on behalf of that person if they're incapacitated, or something along those lines. So you got to know that's your power of attorney. Now, the minor trust for your children, what that's really saying is, yes, it helps to establish guardianship, but it says that, what do I want to happen with my money? I'm not going to, at 18 years old, right, just tell my kids they can have $100,000 a year plus that comes through my LegalShield business. Oh, imagine giving that to a kid at 20 years old, 18 years old, 19 years. So what that allows them to do up till 18, right, is it allows me to stagger the way things will be given and what will be going on. So you got to know the components of the will. Now, Let's talk about the speeding tickets, because I am an expert in the speeding ticket arena. 2 in the last month. Ugh. One's already been dismissed. One's going to court for me next week. So the speeding ticket moving violation. You cannot get a speeding ticket today and get LegalShield tomorrow and think it's going to cover the speeding ticket at no cost. Okay, it doesn't work that way. I mean, you couldn't go get into a car accident and then go get insurance tomorrow. That would be insurance fraud. Well, if you get a speeding ticket or a moving violation today and you get LegalShield tomorrow and you wanted an attorney to go to court for you, because they will go to court for you or with you. Sometimes, depending on the jurisdiction that you're in, they say you got to go too, right? Just depends on there. But they may go for you or with you. Like mine went for me in Michigan, because I wasn't in Michigan. Mine's gone for me in Kentucky, for me in Indiana, for me in Tennessee, for me in Virginia. Yeah, you can tell I've gotten a few of those speeding tickets. So they've gone to court for me on that behalf. Now, if I get LegalShield today and I get a speeding ticket tomorrow, I am covered. I am covered to be able to get that done. So if I get my speeding ticket today and I got LegalShield tomorrow and I want an attorney, 25% off. If I have LegalShield today and I get a speeding ticket tomorrow, tap that app, send the picture, they'll go to court for you, boom, game on, right? So now we've talked so far. Here's what your law firm will do. And I'm going to keep recapping this and keep going back over it. Number 1, they have unlimited consultations. Number 2, they will write letters and make phone calls. 1 letter per subject matter is what they say they will do. We underpromise, we let them over-deliver. So they'll write a letter, make a phone call on your behalf. They will also make sure they review any contracts or documents. So they'll review those personal documents for you. Go ahead and send them on into your law firm. They'll review them. They've got 72 hours to do that. They got 72 hours to be able to, review contracts, documents, as well as write letters. What they're also going to do is that they will prepare your will, your living will, your power of attorney, and a minor trust for your children up to the age of 18 for you and your spouse, updated every single year at no cost. They're going to cover you in the event you get named in a lawsuit. So here's the way this works, guys, and I want people to understand this. So if you get named in a lawsuit, right? So if you get named in a civil lawsuit, all right, in your first year of service, they're going to give you 60 hours. 60 hours of attorney time. Now, here's the deal. 57.5 of those hours are trial time. 2.5 hours is pretrial. Not a whole lot of pretrial there, 2.5 hours. That's why we have that additional trial defense supplement. I have it because I'd rather spend another $9.95 a month. Whereas, so in that first year, I start out with 23 hours of pretrial, because that's where things happen. So you can't tell somebody, hey, you got 60 hours your first year, it's trial time, it's pretrial, hell, it's whatever trial, 60 hours, you got it. No, you don't. You got 2.5 hours pretrial court time before. That's your investigations, that's where you're getting your research done. So I always let people know, if you're worried about getting sued, this is what I would add. So then at the end of the first year, you got 60 hours. Then it goes, I think, to 120. It scales on up. And I think the second year, you only got about 5 hours of pretrial. Okay, so you got 5 hours of pretrial. And then it goes up a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. But at the end of it, all your time is a lot in trial time. Now, some people may not worry about getting sued, but you want to make sure you tell them the right stuff. Then we get covered if we were to get audited by the IRS. You have up to 50 hours with a tax attorney. Now, there's a couple different parts of the way that works. It's not just 50 hours comp blanche right out of the beginning. It's you get a few hours for, in the discovery process, and you get a few more hours, as you get closer. And if it actually goes to trial and you need it, then you get more there. So you want to look at that. You want to understand, what are the IRS options? Now, the other thing I want you to understand, and this is something every one of you need to do, I'm telling you right now, the legal plan covers you if you are audited by the IRS and you have got a W-2. Now, I know everybody here watching is 1099. Every single person here should have the home-based business rider added on for $9.95 to your plan. Because if you get audited by the IRS and you are a 1099 Schedule C, that means you write off as much as you can. And if you don't do that, you absolutely need to get an accountant. Do not go to TurboTax, guys. Do not go to H&R Block. It is worth getting a good accountant. I love my accountant. So you need to get that done. It's a whole different training that we should do one night on how to be able to really understand how to do your taxes the right way as a network marketer, because you guys are missing a lot of write-offs. I guarantee it. Guarantee it. All right, so then we have the family services, right? The uncontested divorce, the uncontested name change, separation, or adoption. Remember, uncontested divorce. Don't just say, yo, divorce is free, because divorce isn't free. An uncontested divorce after the first 90 days. Stacy, I see your thing there. Awesome. Tax money. Love it. So after 90 days, that's free. Now, I want people to realize it's normally about $2,500 to do an uncontested divorce, a name change, a separation, or adoption. LegalShield is free after 90 days. Now, uncontested also, for example, in Illinois means you can't have more than $500,000 worth of assets. So you can't just because you all agree, it can't be uncontested by law. So then you would go into the regular divorce stuff. But uncontested divorce, name change, separation, adoption must be a member for 90 days. Now, people have asked me all the time, well, does it have to be 90 days? I go, if you want it to be free. I said, you've been married for 15 years. Why not wait another 90 days? What's the difference, right? So after the first 90 days, that's free. Now let's talk about the other services. Somebody's going through a bankruptcy. Someone's going through a divorce that's contested, right? That means no one's agreeing on everything. There's some squabbling. It's pretty much the majority of the stuff that goes on there, especially if kids are involved. So if you're going through a contested divorce, a bankruptcy, a DUI, a real estate transaction, a criminal charge, you fall into that 25%. If you want, look at it like this. If you want to, or if you want to, let's say, sue somebody. If I want to go sue somebody, I'd fall into 25%. Now, that could fall into contingency, right? Meaning that they'll take the case for free, and if you guys win, then they'll get some and you'll get some, kind of thing. But if you get caught, if you're in a situation where you're going to initiate getting a bankruptcy, or you're getting a divorce, or you got a DUI, right? Or you're going to buy a house, or you get arrested for something, those things fall into 25% off, which is still significant. Everybody realize that. It's like some people, oh man, I thought the plan was good till I got to 25%. I would have the LegalShield membership if I only got consultations. If I only got consultations. I spend more getting my car washed than I pay for my LegalShield membership. And I use it probably as much as I get my car washed, unless it's summertime, then I got to always keep it washed. So if you're going through bankruptcy, divorce, DUI, real estate transaction, criminal charge, that's where you're going to get. So you'll call the law firm. And so let's say, for example, when I went through my divorce, right, I called the law firm first and I got my consultations because I'd never been through that stuff. I didn't know what was going on. I had kids. I wanted to just, have everything covered, whatever. So I called them. I got my consultations. I actually called them 2 or 3 times before I got my attorney that actually was going to do the divorce. And in fact, I interviewed 3 attorneys. When you get those are called our referral attorneys. Because I call my law firm in downtown Chicago, but I'm getting a divorce 60 miles from Chicago. I want the attorneys that are in that area that know those judges to be the ones that are there acting on my behalf. And then they must give you 25% off. 25% off what their normal rate is for the general public. So it's the same attorneys that are in your community right now. They're just part of our network. Guys, it's going to get to a point where every attorney is going to have to be part of a LegalShield network. Seriously. It's kind of like Home Depot coming in. I hate to say it, but the small guys just kind of went away. It's unaffordable for attorneys. they're going to be coming to us because they need a job. And they're going to live off giving our members 25% off what they always gave people before for those things that they did. So 25% off those things. Remember, you've got your emergency legal access button. You click that little red button. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It goes to an attorney that's in that law firm that carries that phone 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And they got backups in place just in case somebody doesn't pick up. So that's 24/7. You got to make sure that they got everything downloaded. They got their apps downloaded. Their LegalShield app is downloaded. You make sure if they've got kids that are driving cars, it's downloaded. Make sure you got their husband downloaded. You know, they're going to set it up by going to mylegalshield.com. That's when they're going to be able to create their username and their password, right? mylegalshield.com is where I think they have to go to. So they go there. They can download it, set it all up, bam. So the LegalShield membership, that is the membership, guys. Unlimited consultations, letters written on your behalf, documents reviewed, will prepared, living will, power of attorneys, minor trust for children, speeding tickets, moving violations. They got to be non-criminal. That's what they asked me today. I was only 25 over, 26 is criminal. Actually, I was 30 over, but the guy was nice. He gave me 25, but I'm going to have an attorney go to court and hopefully get the whole thing thrown away. But it cannot be a criminal violation. You cannot be driving your car on a suspended license and get a speeding ticket and have LegalShield cover the speeding ticket. You have to be a licensed driver. Your car's got to be registered. Okay, you can't just go out and think they're going to cover, but then they will. Speeding tickets, moving violations. Then they're going to make sure they cover you in case you get sued with a bank of hours, mostly in pre-trial. If you'd like to know more about covering to have more hours in case of being sued, then we'll add that trial and defense services to that. They're going to give you up to 50 hours with a tax attorney. Then for bankruptcies, divorces, DUIs, real estate transactions, criminal charges, you get 25% off. Now, who's covered? The member's spouse. If you're not married and you're living together, they can be on the same agreement. If you've got a same-sex partner, they can be on the same agreement. So it's yourself, your spouse, significant other, domestic partner. You can't have all of them, guys. Because if you got all of them, then you really need LegalShield. I can promise you that. But your kids are covered up to the age of 26 years old, living at home, never been married. So if you've got a son or a daughter who's 25 or 26 and they've been married, or 23 or 24, and they've been married before, they cannot be on the membership. So up to 26 years old, living at home or away as a college student, they are covered. If you are the legal guardian of a child, they are covered up to the age of 18. So 18 years old, they are covered up to. Now, if you've got a physically or mentally challenged child, they are covered for the lifetime of the services as long as they are living at home. So that's the LegalShield membership, guys. It's $24.95 a month for LegalShield. $24.95 a month for LegalShield. Now, let's talk about ID Shield. So, ID Shield, make sure they've got the app downloaded on their phone. Make sure they have the monitor. Make sure you've got it, guys. I mean, if you don't have first of all, if you don't have the LegalShield membership and the ID Shield membership, major error in judgment. I cannot respect anybody that sells something that doesn't have the service, right? Because it makes sense. How funny is it going to be? You're going to be like the guy on LifeLock, right? Remember the guy on LifeLock? Do you realize that he gave out his social security number and he got his social security number compromised 87 times? Right? That's like the guy from Hair Club of America that has no hair. What are you going to do when you become a victim of identity theft? Like, oh man, I became a victim of identity theft. They messed up my accounts. They took off. Aren't you a LegalShield associate? Well, yeah, but I didn't have. Well, you got to have the services. You got to have the legal membership. You got to have your will done. You got to have that, guys. It is just, number one, it's smart. But number two, it just adds credibility to what you do. So you should have the LegalShield. Yeah, you must. It's just the way it goes. So, with the ID Shield, you download the app. Now let's talk about our ID Shield, because a lot of people are going to say, well, how do you compare to LifeLock? Don't ever trash any other company. Man, they sucked. I always just say, listen, I'm never going to say anything bad about anybody else. They've had their challenges, and unfortunately, they've been fined a lot of money for violating some of the things that they were ordered to do. But if you have the service, I commend that you have it, because it does bring some value. Now, the LegalShield ID Shield service is much more comprehensive. And so let's talk a little bit about the membership. Let's talk about who does the work for us. A company called Kroll, Kroll. Please look them up. Kroll. 2,200 folks across the globe that licensed investigators, same folks that were the lead investigators on the Bernie Madoff scheme, same folks that were responsible for the forensics accounting restructuring of Enron. That just sounds painful. For those that don't know Enron, you millennials, go look it up. But the forensics accounting restructuring of Enron, they were hired by the Kuwaiti government to track down Saddam Hussein's hidden financial network. They are the same ones that will be doing the restoration and bringing our members back to where they were before they were a victim. They are the ones that are going to do the consultations for your members. How powerful is that? I just want to go, ugh, right? I mean, licensed investigators, you call them up. So you got on your ID Shield, what they're going to do is monitor everything that matters. Now, they have to set up their monitoring. So when you go to myidshield.com, that's where they'll go ahead and get things registered. They'll put their information in. Now, here's what you want to realize. A husband and a wife are going to have the same membership number. A husband and a wife are going to have the same membership number with ID Shield. So when I go to set it up and I go to myidshield.com, if I'm the primary member, I'm going to put that same membership number and I'm going to put an M in there for member. Now, if I go to do my wife's, and you do them separate, they're two separate accounts. I mean, you got separate social numbers, separate passport numbers, separate closets maybe, I don't know, but it's separate. So you do yours first, put your ID Shield number, and an ID Shield always starts with the number 700. So it always starts with the number 700. So I put 700, at the end I put M. Then it's going to walk me through how I can get my monitoring set up. I'm going to put in my passport. I'm going to put in my driver's license. I'm going to put in my banking information. I'm going to put in my email addresses. I'm going to put in my medical information. I'm going to put in my credit cards. I'm going to put everything in there. I personally just monitor it all. Why wouldn't I? Someone's like, well, I don't know if I want to monitor that. It's kind of important. That's why you want to monitor it, dumb. Well, what if you guys get hacked? Well, what if we do? At least you got licensed investigators to fix it. I mean, everybody gets hacked. You can't stop it, but we fix it when it happens. So they're going to monitor everything. You put your Facebook pages in there. If you guys don't have this done, you need to get off the phone when we get done tonight, and you need to get your monitoring set up. Because here's the thing. When they get their monitoring set up, they will get alerts. I got 2 alerts today. 2 alerts on my ID Shield, right? And so one of them was I knew about, the other one I didn't know about. I hit the button, I called them up, I got them working on something, bam, done. I mean, I can't worry about identity theft. Hell, I got way too many other things to worry about. I don't have the time to deal with it. I don't have the patience to deal with it, because stupid people suck. But anyway, so they will take care of that. Now, what will happen is when you become a victim of identity theft, you got your monitoring set up, you're going to be alerted. You're then going to call the people at Kroll when you become a victim, or if you need to talk to them, just click the little button on your phone. It says advisor, and they also have a 24-hour licensed investigator if you need them. So if you got pulled over late at night and they said that you had a DUI in another state and you've never been to that state, somebody got your identity, right? You need to get on the phone with your attorneys. You got to be on the phone with Kroll. You got to get that situation resolved because it will haunt you. I've seen it happen, guys. Seen it happen. I had a lady who was a client of mine. She went, or before she was a client of ours, she went in to get a job at our local YMCA. She'd been in the community for many, many years. She went in. They already had her working for like 3 days because she was just the person that worked there, and she was somebody who's known in the community. A couple of days later, the background check comes in. Find out she had 3 felony arrests in California for something that wasn't her. The police had to come. Guys, identity theft. I had a good friend of mine where somebody got into his Yahoo account. They were sending child pornography through his account. He had the big time police come to their place, guys. So identity theft is no joke. No joke. Most people will say, well, you can have my credit. It's not about your credit. You may have shitty credit, but you don't want to get thrown in jail for something that somebody else did because they used your information. Shitty credit's not something you really care about at that moment, right? You don't want somebody getting your social security number, getting a job in your name, and then not filing the taxes. You don't want somebody getting your social security number and then filing taxes in your name and getting the refund before you get a chance to do it. You don't want somebody getting your medical information. I had that happen. They went and got a whole barrage of tests. I got stuck with a bill for about $8,000, right? You don't want that. So identity theft's a big deal. When you become a victim of identity theft, you sign over power of attorney. So I say to Kroll, you guys act like me. I'm going to go on with my life. They then go in and act on your behalf. Now, you do got to file a police report, right? That's what we have to do. Then they take over. They do the entire restoration. They'll do whatever it takes for as long as it takes to bring you back to where you were before you were a victim of identity theft, and they back that with a $5 million service guarantee. It covers the member, their spouse, and their children up to 18 years old. Once you turn 18, we can't do that. They got to have their own account. So it's $24.95 a month to cover you, your spouse, your kids up to 18. It's $9.95 a month if you are an individual. So if you are an individual, it's $9.95. Now, if you have a couple, like I've done this, right? They don't have any other kids. I usually get them 2 individual LegalShield plans. Why? Because it's $5, $6 cheaper. So why would they spend $24 when they can spend $20 because they don't have any kids? But that's just what I do. So that's the LegalShield membership. That's the LegalShield membership, right? And some things that I wanted to just share with you is, number one, if you don't know the membership, don't explain the membership. If you can't say everything, don't say anything. If you can't give them all the parts of it, don't just give them bits and pieces. Don't go out there on Facebook Live and talk about this and that and be all over the place and everything else. Listen, if you want to do a Facebook Live and you'd like me to be a guest or invite somebody, I'll be happy to explain the LegalShield membership the right way. I'll be happy to do that. Just reach out to me. I'd much rather take the time to help somebody and do a Facebook Live or get the information out there to people, but I want to make sure it's done right, because that's how you get in trouble when you don't say the right things. I mean, if some people watch some of the lives that we do and get put out there, they'd be like, wow, they don't really know the membership. That's how people get in trouble, being out there and being live and saying things. And, speaking of social media, guys, you do not go out and post about, do you want to make $500 a week, $2,000 a week? You don't do that. You will get in trouble. It's not a LegalShield thing, guys. It is the Federal Trade Commission says you cannot deceptively advertise things. You can't tell people they're going to make $500 to $1,000 a week. Just because you did it doesn't mean they can do it. You leave yourself open to get in trouble. Not to mention, it takes away our brand. I never have to worry about posting about how much money. People go ask me all the time, well, show me your income statement. I'm like, dude, why am I showing you my income statement? I mean, I'll show you the publication of LegalShield that says I make a couple $100,000 a year. Like, show me your bank account, dude. That's what I like to say to people. Show me your bank account. Love to see it. How about if we exchange? I'll do you a favor. You show me yours, I'll show you mine, and then we'll chat, right? But you don't need to post your money. You don't need to do any of that stuff, right? You don't pay for people to be LegalShield associates. You just don't need to do that. People are not going to be attracted to you because you flash money. The wrong people get attracted to you. When somebody wins the lottery, usually everybody comes out. The wrong people come out looking for everything. Listen, stand proud. Stand tall. Be out there when you're on social media branding. Show people that you're a good person, an honest person. You're not dissing people, right? So this isn't a social media conversation, but I had to get that thrown out there because, guys, we're too good. We're too good. It's almost like, if you're talking to a beautiful young lady and she's dressing maybe the way she shouldn't. You just say, listen, you don't need to do that. You're beautiful without doing all that, right? We don't need to put the monies out there. We're beautiful without it. LegalShield's amazing, right? The services, they work. Everything that we do works. Now, here's another thing. If your member ever has a legal situation, here's what I always tell my members, guys. You want to get the best way to get referrals? You tell your members what it is. Number one, get them to call their law firm. Say, please do me a favor. Call me after you talk to the law firm. Just let me know everything went well. 99% of the time, everything went great, right? 99% of the time. Every once in a while, maybe somebody gets an answer they don't want to hear, right? Because the law is legal. It's not logical, right? So every once in a while they may, or maybe they just didn't feel like they got treated right. Because listen, our attorneys are human. They have bad days too. So, but here's the thing. You have them call you when they use it. And then number one, you understand exactly how it went. 99% of the time, they say it was awesome. It was great. I know, Carolyn, you're a brand new LegalShield associate. And I know that we just talked the other day and you had a question for the law firm. You called them down in Texas. You got your answer. How cool is that? Give me some hearts if you've called your law firm, guys. Give me some hearts. And if you didn't, give me that sad, mean face, that one that pops up there every once in a while. But you guys got to use your membership, right? So you got to make sure that you're using your membership, and you got to make sure that you're doing the right stuff. So, guys, I appreciate you guys watching tonight, and just getting some insights. Does anybody have any questions, anything they'd like to ask? I'll try to answer any of those if you've got them. Thank you, Carolyn. Yeah, I did see that. So if anybody's got any questions, I'll be happy to answer them if I can see them. Thank you, Debbie. Appreciate it. Thank you, Stacy. Stacy, twice a week. Erica, thank you. I'm looking forward to you launching tomorrow. You guys just watch out. Erica Holmes is up and running. She is going to light it up. Woo! Anybody else got any question? Rebuttals. Is that what your question is, Erica? I see rebuttals. How do you handle rebuttals? Give me a specific example if you could. You mean overcoming objections? Give me an objection. I'll be happy. So, yes, Dan, earning statements are against the law. Thank you, Nella. Anybody else? So if you got a question, or a particular objection, I'll be happy to do that because there's a lot of them. I've heard objections like, so let's take this as an objection. I need to think about it. I need to think about it. What I say with the I need to think about it is, so is there something that I did not properly explain to you that you need to ponder for a little bit? Can I go ahead and answer that question for you right now? And they go, yeah, actually I want this. Okay, great. Now that I've given you that answer, are you ready to get started? Now that I've given you that answer, are you ready to get started? I may say, hey, I need to go back and check with my wife. Okay, I got to go back and check with my wife. I'll say, okay, listen, I totally understand that, buddy. Or I got to go check with my husband. I totally understand that, ma'am. But here's what I can tell you. I'm sure that if you were to come home with your will prepared or with the opportunity to say that your will is going to get prepared, it's a $20, $25 bill. I'm not that person. I'm not that person that's I'm writing your questions down, Erica. Lawyer, it's too much. So I'd say to him, well, listen, you don't need to, I totally appreciate you got to go back and talk to your spouse. But I'm sure that they will be super excited if you bring home this will. Why don't we do this? If I got a paper application with me, I go, why don't we go ahead and fill this out right now and go home and talk to your spouse and then give me a call if you don't want me to turn it in. I won't. But I'm not going to overbeat them up. I'm going to probably give them, one or two overcoming objections. What do I say if someone says, I've already got a lawyer? I say, congratulations. That's awesome. What kind of attorney do you have? Because I can guarantee they may have a lawyer, but they don't have a law firm. So exactly what does that attorney specialize in? Well, awesome. Well, then you absolutely understand the value of having an attorney. Yeah, I got the hookup. They do all my stuff for me. So they do it for free for you? Well, no, I got to actually pay them. Well, how often have you used that attorney? Well, do you have your will prepared? No. Would they do it for free? No. we'll do it for free. Why don't we get that part started right now? Okay, why don't we get that set up? So when people tell me they've got an attorney, I say that's so awesome. In fact, I've actually got a lady on my team that sells the LegalShield membership. She was the former Dean of Law for John Marshall Law School. She was one of Chicago's 100 most powerful women. In fact, she was the first African-American lady that was, positioned as the Dean of Law for a law school in the United States. I mean, she sees the value, as do 14 attorney generals. I'm sure they have attorneys. So that's the way I kind of answer that. I don't ever want to be snickery with people, but that's do what I say. If somebody says it's too much money, I'd say, I always would say something to the effect of, but your family is worth $1 a day, aren't they? Your family's worth $1 a day. Give up the Big Mac, give up the something, give up the Starbucks. You need to have a will done. You've got teenage drivers. I mean, the whole thing, guys, is you got to learn when you're talking to people to, you got to have, what's the word I'm looking for? You got to have restraint. Don't say what you want to say what you're supposed to say, and say it the way you're supposed to say it. You don't cut people down. You don't go, well, you got $25, you broke ass. What's up with that? Too much money. You say, listen, I totally understand. But here's what I know. Because of the way this world works, if you don't believe you can afford LegalShield, you can't afford not to have LegalShield. Because trust me, guys, the people that don't really have $24.95 to be able to do something, they're the ones that are probably going to be in debt. They're the ones that are most likely going to have collections coming after them. They're the ones that are going to run into situations. And we have, love it, Carly, empathize, don't patronize. That's so, so, so important. Be genuine. And also, don't be afraid to say that you don't know all the facts. You know what? That's a great question. Let me see if I can get somebody on the phone right now that can answer it. Don't just answer it if you don't know it. Don't guess. Don't guess with people's lives. Don't guess with people's futures, right? Because that's super, super important. I think I saw a couple other questions. What's a legal way for them to get it restored, or it just goes in the 25% off? Get what restored? Sorry, I didn't see what you were talking about earlier, Gina. So when you say getting restored, I wasn't. So the lawyers will help with license restoration. Yes, I think they give 2.5 hours if somebody is going through a license restoration. Double check that. But they will help depending on the situation, right? Depending on the situation. So I would just say, and here's what I always say to people. If I don't know the answer, I'm going to say, listen, do me a favor. Give the law firm a call. I'm not 100% sure. I got to be honest. Who was, I was just looking at Carolyn, I think. So Carolyn, I think you called the law firm yesterday in Texas. And you got an answer that I would have never guessed. I mean, I would have not gotten that answer or understood that answer based on what I had found out a little bit today. I mean, I wouldn't have known that. So, I mean, that's a great thing. So I always say to people, call your law firm. And I'm not 100% sure what they're going to do, but I guess they'll give you the right answer. They're going to give you the right information. They're not going to tell you got a case when you don't. They're not there to mess with people. They're there to, listen, the legal profession makes their money from billable hours. Why would they not elongate the process always? Because they get paid more. The longer the situation, the more the attorney gets paid. LegalShield, we're about bringing the law with a quickness to people because so many things can be handled quickly, but they don't get handled quickly because people are getting billed for them, right? Yes, Carolyn, yes, I remember your question. I just didn't want to share it because that's your personal stuff. But anyway, yeah, I know you. I kind of heard the answer today, and that's pretty wild. So, guys, anybody else have any questions about this? Again, if you want to do a Facebook Live and you want me to be a guest on it, and you'd like me to explain the membership, I am happy to do that. I would much rather explain it the right way and people have the right information, because then people are going to keep this membership for a lifetime. So anyway, any other questions, guys? Otherwise, I'm going to sign you all off. I don't even know how long we've been on, but it's been, wow, an hour and 10 minutes. Ebony, you had asked about the IRS. That's right. So the IRS, the way it works, yes, you'll be able to play this again, Phyllis. The IRS, the way it works is that IRS audit, you have up to 50 hours with an IRS tax attorney. Now, you'll grab the brochure because I don't have it in front of me. And I don't want to give you 100% the wrong answer, Ebony, but you've got 2.5 or so hours, like when you first received the letter from the IRS, and then it goes into a second phase of things, and then a third phase, and then that fourth phase is if you actually have to go to court to fight the IRS. But for the most part, you start out. So it's not just like, hey, you got carte blanche 50 hours, right? They could get charged a little bit because that 2.5 hours at the beginning, maybe it takes 3 hours in that first process. Maybe you have to pay for a half hour. It just really depends on the complexity of what your case is. And so hopefully that answers your question, Ebony, but definitely look at the brochure, guys. Order some brochures. You got to have them. Go back, download the presentation, watch this again. Yeah, I know it's an hour, but I spent my hour, and I've spent this same hour at least 10,000 times doing this exact same thing, telling people about this. You want to watch it. You want to be able to know what it is that you have. You're going to feel better about marketing this service, and a great member becomes the great recruit. That'll be tomorrow night's topic, and we talk about referrals, how to get more referrals. You guys have an amazing... Roy. Okay, so if you go to our team website, guys, you go to begintheascent.com. So you go to begintheascent.com, and when you go to begintheascent.com, right in the front, you're going to see a little thing. It says log in your back office. I've made our team website so simple, guys. You go to our team website, you can log into your back office. Then when you log into your back office, you want to look for associate perks. Guys, we got some great associate perks. You know, I got this doctor on call thing. You know, I still have my insurance, but I use this doctor on call because I spend like $15 a month to cover myself and my family, I think. I can just call a doctor, get a prescription. They can look at my throat via video. It's pretty awesome. And, then also I have, they got a great prescription card there. Somebody asked today about dental insurance. Go to your member perks, guys. Got to talk about that before I close. Yeah, Member Perks has got a great dental plan. Guys, I saved $1,500 on a bed the other day. I saved $3,000 last year. But here's what you can't say. You can't tell them they get discounts on things they don't. You can't over-explain what it is they get. They get discounts on all kinds of things, but don't go, hey, you get 30% of this, 40% of that, whatever, because it may not be true. So you want to go to your Member Perks. I literally was laying in bed the other night. I was talking to my wife. I'm like, God, we need a new bed. I'd love to get one of these memory foam kind of beds. And I said, let me just look in the Member Perks. I opened up the Member Perks. I saved $1,700 on a bed. It went from being $3,000 down to $950 for a California king-size bed with this memory foam, guys. Member Perks you will save more money in Member Perks, so you got to make sure you get them downloaded. You got to go in there and check them. You got to let your members know about them. They will save more with their Member Perks on a monthly basis, right? Then they will save, in fact, you will save more. I save more on a hotel per night when I travel than I do paying for a month with my LegalShield membership. So, anyway, Roy, look for the associate perks. The associate perks are in your back office. The member perks are on the app. Anybody else have any question? All right, guys. I appreciate you all listening in tonight. Everybody have a fantastic day, and bye-bye for now.